Good morning, everybody out there in YouTube land. It's your buddy Chop It On coming at you with a hyper simple breakdown of the Friday, May 3rd, 13-game MLB slate. As always, follow me out on Twitter at Chopadong. Follow me on YouTube by subscribing and liking the channel so that you get notifications that drop into your phone the minute a video is released. And of course, consider becoming a VIP at DFSArmy.com, your one-stop shop for everything daily fantasy sports, whether, NASCAR stuff is coming. We do a lot of MMA. We do a lot of PGA. Guys are having a lot of fun over there. NBA's winding down, and you've got stuff that you want to do, got stuff that you want to play on occasion. You need to consider becoming a VIP here because we blend all of the content and the tools, and we have the experts coaching you and teaching you how to play those sports in a fundamentally sound way to help you build more and more competitive lineups. In fact, I'm going to try and make this video pretty quick today because we've got a lot of coaching going on inside Slack right now, inside our coaching channels, where we're going to want to get back to that discussion and help those guys that are already VIPs. So if you want to join the crowd, use the coupon code CHOP down there in the comment section. Click the link down there too and become a VIP. You'll get in here, well before noon and start asking questions yourself. Easiest thing to do is just run through a hyper simple process every single day. I will be focused on the 4-game night slate personally. I don't want to play a 13-game slate, but I know a lot of you do, so that's what we'll run through. And the first thing we always look for, first thing we look for is weather. So if I go to any lineups page that shows a little bit of a weather report and I'm looking for, trouble spots, and I don't really see any, Pittsburgh won't probably be on this game anyway today, to be honest with you, so I'm not worried about it. So I'll scroll down a little bit more. What I am going to look at, though, is Toronto and Texas, because I will be on this game, being it's on the 8 o'clock slate. And when I look down here, I'm looking at a little bit of cautionary, rain potential inside this game, and I see 35%, 24, 19, 27. So drop, 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 boom, spike, and then it holds. So there's a possibility this game is rain shortened. There's a possibility it's just a delay as a line of storms moves through. I don't know. I might follow somebody, like DFS Weather, MLB DFS Weather, whatever his handle is out there on Twitter, to make sure that I get the latest updates, because this is a game I'd be very, very interested in. But the way I'm looking at it right now, I probably won't be on any of the pitchers, honestly, unless I'm taking one for a second pitcher over on DraftKings. But I'm looking at these guys for bats, and I don't want the game to be rain shortened, and I'm going to probably like the Texas bats quite a bit. So I'm going to have to pay attention to this as the day goes on. So I've already got that in the tip of my brain. And as I scroll down here, no more weather concerns, so not a big deal. I go ahead and I look at pitching, because that's what I want to find first. And when I look at a combination of salary, Vegas odds, and K-score, K-score, if you don't know, is the opponent's strikeout percentage added to the pitcher's strikeout percentage. It's not to handedness, it's just a general idea of how he strikes people out, because actually pitchers face right and left-handed pitchers or hitters all the time. I could do it to handedness, but it requires a little bit more specific digging, and I've found this works just fine for me, so I keep it pretty general as it is. A K-score, is simply strikeout percentage, say 30%, added to the opponent's strikeout percentage, say 30%. That would give me a total of 60%. Drop the decimal, gives me a 600. As you can see, we've got a couple of 600s on there today. It's a phenomenal, phenomenal K-score. I'm looking anything over 500 to kind of get me excited. So 600 is way up there. And when I start by looking at Chris Sale, I see 9,900, strong Vegas odds, and a strong K-score facing an offense I'm not really all that afraid of in Chicago. So that may be, we'll just start there. Leader in the clubhouse, right? I'll worry about these notes in a little bit. But then I drop down to ICOF and I see a, $1,500, $1,400, $1,300 savings, a big savings on DraftKings, same basic Vegas odds, same K-score, darn near identically. And I would rather save the money. I get the same Vegas odds, I get the same K-score, and I get a lower price. Why would I not do that? I've got the same upside, same potential, and Vegas seems to think I've got the same percentage chance of winning this game. So why would I not take advantage of that and save a little bit of money? That means ICOF is probably number 1 for me. Sale gets dropped to number 2. I look at Paxton. Now, if I'm going to pay up for Paxton, I better get better Vegas odds, which I don't. I better get a better K-score, which I don't. So to me, I don't need to pay that price because I can get better for less. See, I'm just slowly sifting my way through the slate, and I isolated these guys. There are others on there. These are the guys that are most playable in my opinion. You might want to go look at a list yourself and pick some guys out and start comparing them like this. Glass on Tampa Bay, 10-5. He better be way up there too. 190. Okay, so I get a better Vegas odds, but is it way better? I mean, to pay $2,000 more over ICOF, it better be way better, is it? I don't know. You be the judge on what 30 points means to you. The K-score is not. The K-score is significantly less. Not that 500 is bad. 500 is great, but 600 is even better. And what I like about K-score is it focuses on strikeout upside. Strikeouts erase earned runs. You can afford to give up a home run. You can afford to give up a couple of earned runs. Nobody's going to go, at least not very often, unless your name is Noah Syndergaard, apparently. Nobody's going to go 9 innings and shut everybody out these days with, 10 strikeouts or whatever. They just don't go that deep into games anymore. So we need somebody who's going to get us 5, 6, 7 innings. Somebody who's going to pile up, has the potential to pile up strikeouts. And to find that, we're looking at a pitcher with swing and miss stuff who has a high strikeout percentage going up against a team that loves to strike out because we need that extra help. And the K-score gives us a sliding scale, as you'll see in Paxton when I go through the notes. Gaussman at 8,100. Okay, that would be targeting the Miami offense, just like Glasnow might be targeting Baltimore. If you want to do that, that's fine. I'm not saying that you're overpaying egregiously for Glasnow. I'm saying you're overpaying, though, compared to what you can get out of ICOF. And I'm not going to run 100% ICOF because he's my favorite pitcher. I'm still going to spread it out because sometimes these things are fluky. I may have 2 or 3 pitchers that I settle on today, and I may take 50% ICOF and 25% of another and 25% of another. I'm going to spread it out a little bit. I'm going to play a little bit safer. I'm going to make 2, 3, 4, 5 lineups. And I'm going to kind of try to hit a bunch of different things that I think could pan out. And then hopefully one of them works. That's how I tend to play baseball. I'm not a one lineup guy. I don't do the whole 150 MME stuff yet. I will play 20 max stuff. That's kind of fun. But that takes a little bit different way. It spreads you out too. But anyway, we're getting off track. Gaussman 8,100 is a little cheaper than ICOF, but we've got a lower Vegas odds and a much lower K-score. So no, it's not. The savings is great for $500, but $500 doesn't buy me anything. It buys me a worse pitcher in a worse matchup. Robbie Ray, 7,000, priced down because he's in Coors, even odds. So there's no advantage there. And 538 K-score is great, but it's still not 600. So I would still settle on ICOF being my lead today. If I look at the notes, dig a little bit deeper, I find that Chris Sale, 48 fantasy points, Fanduel points with 8 Ks and 30 with 10 Ks in his last 2 starts, back-to-back starts. He's kind of coming around. He had a horrible April. Maybe he's coming out of it. Maybe that was his spring training and he's coming into his own. That would be worthy of consideration. If you got your 48 points, it's definitely something you need to consider. But look at ICOF, 30, 30, and 49 in his last 3 starts for cheaper again. I'd take 30 for him before I took 30 from Sale because of the price difference. James Paxton, Minnesota's been scoring a lot of runs lately, but they also only have an 18.9% OPK. What that means is that a lot of this K-score is actually Paxton's own strikeout stuff, which is great. But if Minnesota's not striking out, it suppresses this number. It'd be up here if he was facing a higher strikeout team, but he's not. It's a little danger spot for James Paxton tonight. Didn't really put any notes on Glasnow other than you're targeting Baltimore. Gaussman's targeting Miami, of course. Had 52 points versus Miami in his first start of the year. Pretty strong. But Gaussman's not a great pitcher. Might get you 24. But if he's got upside to 52 versus a team that he's already been facing, maybe you do consider that. This 477, maybe you look at and go, but he's playing Miami, and he's already done well against Miami. I don't know. Maybe Miami adjusted, and they don't strike out as much as they did the first time. And then Robbie Ray, we still haven't seen a ceiling game from him yet. The other one I almost put on this list was Jack Flaherty. Going against the Cubs, it's chilly up there in Wrigley today, but he's not on the main slate, so it doesn't really matter. That's who I would consider as my pitchers. I have to draw lines in the sand on a 13-game slate and make some decisions. Then when I go looking at pitchers to face, pitchers that I want to look at, I'm going to look at things like their opposing Sierra. So if I come to the starting pitching matchup page, I can look at a couple of things. I can look at DFS grade and look for anyone under, say, a 30. So down to about Reynaldo Lopez. I would write these teams down. Boston, Pittsburgh, Washington, LA, Philly, Cleveland, Cincinnati. These are teams that are facing a bad pitcher, according to the overall catch-all metric of DFS grade. Another thing that I could do, I could focus on just the bad qualities. High ISO against, or low, high hard contact rate against. And I would take these guys up near a 20, and I would write them down. So that gets us up in here, Urena, Thornton, Straley. Maybe I would include Atlanta, Texas, and Tampa in my stacks. I'm trying to see if I've got repeat offenders, and I definitely will down here at the bottom of the list. But I'd come over to Sierra, and I would look for high Sierras. Anything over a 5. So Beatty's on that list again. The 506, who's that, Hellickson? The 495, and Ronaldo Lopez. Ronaldo Lopez is a name that's starting to pop a little bit. Come up here a little bit. Glasnow, not Glasnow, below him. Lopez, Gio Gonzalez, Urena. Straley. These are names that we've seen before. So you're starting to see multiple indicators these guys are in probably a bad spot. Scroll back over, write those names down of these teams. You're looking for a team that has several indicators that they're going up against a bad pitcher that's prone to blow up and give up a lot of runs, and that's the team you want to focus on. The other thing that I would look at is the K-score, W-score thing. The K-score for pitchers, of course, but the W-score for bats. What is W-score? Let's take 2 seconds and break that down. W-score is the WOBA for the team that they're, the pitcher's facing, the WOBA for the opponent, as well as the WOBA allowed for your pitcher. So it stands to reason that if I have a team coming in with a high team WOBA, that's scary. If I have a pitcher that gives up a high WOBA against, he's not very good. So that would be kind of like a plus-plus matchup. Also factoring into W-score is ISO, which is raw power. And it factors in the pitcher's ISO allowed and the team that he's facing, their team ISO. So it works the same way. A high ISO team, a high power team coming into a pitcher that allows a lot of power, hits like home runs and gap shot doubles and things like that. That's a bad, that's another plus for the bats, for the team you're looking to stack. So I would look for a very, very high, your good pitchers are going to have low W scores because they just don't give up a lot. The teams you want to face, the pitchers you want to target have a high W score. So like Steven Matz, that's not him, it's Tyler Anderson. Whoa, Tyler Anderson. We scroll over and we see this, Arizona in Coors. Probably going to be a pretty popular, stack tonight. If I look down a little bit more at some of these other guys, I find Beatty again, I find Hellickson again, and these 3 in here, Eichhoff and Bauer. Eichhoff's a little scary on that list because he's my #1 pitcher on the night, according to the numbers I looked at. So I'll take this into consideration. Maybe I won't take 50% of it. Maybe I'll only take 35% of it, and I'll be more balanced with 2 or 3 pitchers, right? So I look at Eichhoff, I would Washington, LA Dodgers for Lauer, Philly for Hellickson and Beatty, Cincinnati. Cincinnati's tipping all of the radar. Now the question is, can Cincinnati do it? So we've got some pitchers identified. We've got some team stacks that we want to find identified. We've got a few names that we're looking at. I would say, my list was Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, Boston, Detroit, Philadelphia, and the Dodgers. And when I look at those, actually I'm going to like Cincinnati a lot, other than I don't like their team offense. If this would be Boston, my gosh, I'd be all over them. But I do like Tampa Bay because by other numbers that I looked at, Tampa Bay, the pitcher they're facing today, has trouble with batters on both sides of the plate. He gives up WOBA to both sides of the plate. So does the Boston opponent. So does the Detroit opponent, the LA opponent. The LA opponent's Eric Lauer. Eric Lauer gives up WOBA to both sides of the plate. So that puts the Dodgers in a good spot because not only is he a poorly ranked pitcher, he's got a higher Sierra, he's got a higher W score, he's got a higher whatever indicators all of these are. He's also facing a powerful offense in the Dodgers, and he struggles against both sides of the plate. So the Dodgers might be able to put together a couple of really nice rallies against him because it's not like you get a couple of outs and then you've got righty coming and the pitcher gets righties out fairly easily. It's lefties he has a problem with. Because if that's the case, then you got 2 outs and you get 3 righties in a row, your inning's probably over. But if he struggles against righties too, the inning could continue almost indefinitely. Those are the scenarios that I want to be trying to find. Those are the scenarios I want to be targeting. And so I've got my main stacks, Tampa Bay, Boston, Detroit, and LA. I'll look at Cincinnati and I'll look at Detroit for you, but we'll look at some others and we'll see how we compare. So we look at the Trends tab. The Trends tab for me, trending WOBA is how I find the hitters in the offenses I like. Again, it's very, very simple, hyper simple. Trending WOBA tells me that over 30 days, 14 days, and 7 days, what the WOBA is that this hitter is doing. I don't care necessarily what his baseline is. I can look at it. But I don't want a guy who's hitting at his baseline. I want a guy who's hitting well above his baseline because I want somebody who's hitting hot. Because if he's hitting hot, his price on, in the DFS industry can't keep up with him because he's outperforming his own price tag. That means he's bringing value. He's more or less on sale for what he is doing right now. The beauty about chasing this L7 WOBA is in 2 or 3 days, the list shuffles. If this guy cools off, if Adrianza cools off, in Minnesota and starts dropping back to his C, look, he was a 390 2 weeks over the last 2 weeks, but he's a 680 this week. Hope you were on him this week. That's huge. Over the last 30 days, 265. If he's going to probably come back down to his baseline of a 300, right? But as he's running hot, I want to be playing him. As he cools off 2 days, 3 days, 4 days later, this L7 WOBA is going to start changing because day 8, day 9, and day 10 are going to start dropping off. If those were his hot days, his big games, those are going to drop off and his number is going to take a hit. And when his number takes a hit, I'm going to notice that. And I'm going to see it creeping back down towards these numbers and I'm going to go, okay, he's cooling off. It's time to get off of him. And I can hop on and hop off and hop on and hop off of WOBA trains all day long. Now, is it perfect? No. No system, no anything is perfect. But to me, it's a logical system that makes a lot of sense for baseball, and I can stick to it. And when I stick to it, I let the good luck and the bad luck kind of come and go. If I'm, basically relying on a lot of luck to continue on, I'm going to sit down and I may sit down and build a few lineups with this and catch a cold streak right off the bat. But if I sit in it long enough, the numbers will come back around. They're too logical. Same thing if I sit down immediately and get on a hot streak and think, oh my God, this is the greatest system ever. No, just wait. Just wait. It'll cool off on you. You'll get guys that, you'll get Adrianza's bad day in his first day in 7 days, and all of a sudden you picked him on one of his bad days, and you do that with a Jose Abreu too, or a Mookie Betts or something like that, and the next thing you know, you're like, this doesn't work anymore. No, it does work. You're just not riding it out. You need to ride it out through its highs and through its lows, and over the course of a month, 2 months, 3 months, you'll see it works. You'll see it works pretty well. Puts you in a lot of good positions. But you have to pick. I wouldn't take, Adrianza against a James Paxton. He's a competent pitcher. Even as hot as Adrianza is, I would try not to take him if I can avoid it. I would focus on the bad teams. And that would, or the bad pitchers. And so that puts me back on a Cincinnati. So when I look at Cincinnati, since they were hitting all those indicators, I'm looking for anything over a 400 in this L7 WOBA. So I'd be looking at these top 3 guys, Iglesias, Casali, and Winker. These would be the bats I'd be focused on. A 285 to a 375 is great, so Peraza maybe gets in there too because he's heating up and he's almost where I want. And so if I'm catching him ascending, and this is just kind of an average over 7 days, maybe his last day or 2 were over 400 and he's heating up, he's still heating up. So I might take that into consideration. But overall, okay, I've got a few bats I can focus on, but my Vados, my Suarez, my Schebblers, my Puigs, no, I probably won't because they're not hitting hot right now. Their baselines are great, and they will regress to this baseline. Will it be today? I don't know. What I do know is today, these are the guys that are swinging a hot bat. So what was the other one that I was looking for? Detroit? Not a great offense. You look at some plate appearances to make sure they're not really platooning. I filtered some of those out. This is showing more than 10 plate appearances over the last 14 days. But I see a 560. If Dustin Peterson gets the start for 2,100 or 3,100, why not throw him in there as a one-off? He's facing Jorge Lopez, which is somebody that we're not really afraid of, right? The team is in a good spot. It's whether or not they can execute and do something with it. And we're looking for the bats that are most likely to do the damage. That's Peterson, Castellanos, and Hicks. These are 2 power bats. That's nice. You want to do something else, you trend over right over here. And let's see what the L7 ISO is as well. And for Castellanos, it's a 350. Over 200 is an elite number. His baseline's right at 200. He's a powerful hitter. But look, he's hitting for more power right now than usual, which means he's running hot. A 440 WOBA and a 340 ISO in a team that's in a good spot facing a theoretically soft pitcher. This is the matchup you're looking for. So Castellanos as a one-off tonight is phenomenal. As part of a stack, Hicks, Peterson, you want to put Peterson in there with them because Peterson isn't probably a stellar bat. And you want to correlate These guys, if Peterson is anywhere near them in the batting order, you want Castellanos and you want Hicks coming up behind him or ahead of him or something so that they can parlay those points together, knock each other in, score some runs, get some RBIs, whatever, and pile on a few extra points for that player. That's what you want to look for. So, but somebody like a Castellanos or a Hicks that can hit home runs, they're okay as a one-off because they can hit a 3-run home run and be a part of the winning lineup that night in a GPP just on their own. So you don't always have to completely stack. I would just say use your value guys as part of your stacks and then focus your one-offs on your power bats that can win you a slate on their own. Unless that one-off is just too dirt cheap to refuse. And it's somebody like Peterson at 2,100, I guess. Because if he's sitting at the top of the order batting first or second and he's 2,100 and I just need the savings because I'm running, a Clayton Kershaw or a Chris Sale or something like that out there, a Paxton or somebody out there tonight, then I'm going to need that savings. This is an easy one to take. And then I can run away from the Detroit offense and go focus on Arizona out in Coors, which, by the way, let's look at them next. There. 3 bats to focus on, right? Wilmer Flores, Kittle Marte, and Eduardo Escobar. Escobar's been a one-off for me all year long. Love that dude. He's been sustaining his 400 and 500 WOBAs. He comes and goes a little bit, but generally speaking, over the last month or for the course of the season, he's been over a 400 WOBA. He's been great. He's had his good games and bad games. Let's watch Colorado. Let's see what they've been doing. They get Robbie Ray, and you can get good Ray or bad Ray. So as a GPP play, Colorado should be fine, but you've got guys that are getting hot now. Arenado's hot. Why? Watch his ISO. He's been hitting bomb after bomb after bomb. His ISO's through the roof. Again, it will cool off because his baseline's a 265. Let's not go nuts here. But look at how hot he's running over the last week compared to the last 2 weeks. He's heating up. He's ascending. He's getting hotter and hotter and hotter. Until he cools off, you need to be on this train. Ian Desmond, Daniel Murphy, Trevor Story, all these guys are hitting for big power. And they're all hitting for decent WOBAs. Now, Story's cooling off a little. This 420 is dropping to a 383. But 380 is his baseline. We shouldn't expect it to go too much below that. If it does, he's really cold and we can get off of him because he'll be overpriced for the way he's performing. Again, guys, this is just logic, sifting your way through the slate. And you're just looking for your targets. Another target of mine was Tampa Bay. So I would take these couple of guys up here. Now, I would be a little bit questionable about some of these guys down here because they were hot a while ago. 440 into 315, 350 into 350 isn't great. 370 to 370 isn't great. At least it's something. But 430 into 422 is cooling off. Daniel Robertson's fine. The rest of these guys, okay, I'm going to be watching them. That's going to temper back my expectations on Tampa Bay just a smidge. I know they're facing Dan Straley, so I may take them anyway and gamble a little bit. I would much rather see them run hot. There for a while, there were 4 or 5 of these bats that were all over a 400 WOBA for the last 7 days, and therefore I was playing them every single day. But I might not now. Let's look at Boston. There's what you're looking for. There's 4 bats, and there's one that's coming up a little bit, 340 to 360, 250 to 350. So you might outside shot at Vasquez or Lynn. Looks like our buddy Bogarts has dropped back off. He was getting hot for a little while. Looks like he's cooled right back off. But I'd be focused more on Mookie Betts, Michael Chavis, Rafael Devers, Sandy Leon, or Vasquez if they get the start are fine. But these would be the guys that would be anchoring my stacks. And then I might let an optimizer fill in a couple of guys. If it throws me a Bogarts, that's okay. Moreland hit a home run the other night. Look how cold he's been lately, but he still hit a home run 2 days ago. Sometimes you got to get a little lucky to win these things too. Philadelphia, and then I want to look at Texas, and then we'll get out of here. But Philadelphia's hitting. Look at this; they're heating back up. Look at these, going from a 260 to a 300 to up a little bit, 320 to a 390. So I would consider a McCutcheon type. 350 into 388. I wouldn't be too disappointed with a Realmuto being thrown in there. 330 into a 360. They're all ascending. Some more than others. Now the one I wouldn't take is probably this 239 into a 290 because a 290 still isn't much. At least a 380 and a 390 is close to the 400 I look for, so I would be impressed with those guys. So I've got 5 or 6 guys, and Philly's in a pretty good spot tonight facing Jeremy Hellickson, who's tipped the scales as a bad pitcher a couple of times. And with everyone out in Coors Field and focused on Dodgers and Red Sox and stuff, Philly might be a pretty sneaky stack for you tonight. Let's look at Texas, since I'm intrigued by them as well, and see, look at all these over 400 guys. Hello. Right? Let's scroll over here and look for a little bit of power as well. So I've got all these over 400 guys. There's a 500 G's Joey Gallo. Didn't think that he's been doing much lately. I'd have to check his game logs. But a 440 L7 and a 520 ISO over his last 7 days is huge. And these are all over 200s and some over 300. Chu over 300. Those are great. And it's not coming down. It's going up. 250 into 370. So I would be comfortable with Chu, Andrews, Santana, Forsythe, Gallo, even some Pence in my stacks. Very, very comfortable. And I'm just going to walk through every single team this way. But to do that, you've got to get access to this tool. And to get access to this tool, you have to click the link at the bottom of the tab there. And you have to basically become a member at dfsarmy.com. Use coupon code CHOP. Save yourself 20% off by letting them know that I sent you here. But get in here today. It's Friday. Use it for the weekend. You're going to like it if you use it for a couple of weeks. You'll see it run its good days and bad days. Run back through this video again and again and again. It's what I talk about every single day. Find your best pitchers. Find your worst pitchers. Find the offenses that are going to stack up against those worst pitchers. And then find the hot bats inside those offenses. 3-step process. Find my pitchers. Eichhoff, Glasnow, Gaussman, Sale, whatever. Find the bad pitchers. And who's going against them? Cincinnati, Tampa Bay, Boston, Detroit, Philly, LA Dodgers, whatever, some Texas, whatever. Right? And then go into those offenses and look for the hot Cincinnati bats, the hot Tampa Bay bats, the hot Boston bats, the hot Detroit bats. And go looking through those teams and see if the team overall is running hot, and if they are, tend to stack them up when they're going up against a bad pitcher. It's just putting all of the odds in your favor. It's still a round ball and a round bat, still a random game. You know, it's still not always going to work out your way. And it's not even going to work out your way the majority of the time because these guys don't even perform 30% of the time on their own. But logically, it is going to work for you more often than just about any other method, and you're going to have a lot of success if you do it. I would tell you, build 1 lineup, build 3 lineups, build 10 lineups, I don't care. But come into dfsarmy.com, let's talk about contest allocation to make sure that you're also putting yourself in the best position to spread your portfolio of players out and capitalize on as much money as you possibly can. That's another thing that we do inside dfsarmy.com. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hitting the like and subscribe button while you're down there. Thanks for following me out on Twitter. Hopefully we talk more inside DFS Army in the coaching rooms where we can talk even more detailed about how we're going to turn you into a better player. Take care, guys. Have a good weekend, and I will catch you back on Monday.